A terror attack has turned the quiet Dangri village in Rajouri district into a battleground. Islamic terrorists killed 4 people by barging into their homes. This was not an impromptu incident, but a carefully planned and executed attack. Terrorists first confirmed the identities of the victim living there through their Aadhaar cards. Later, they killed their targets. These were not some high profile targets to be assassinated, but they were just innocent Hindus. Terrorists killed them for being Hindu. They went from house to house, fired indiscriminately, and stopped only after hearing shots fired from a distance. Terrorists presumed it was the security forces and fled the village. But it was one villager named Balkishan. He came out with a gun belonging to a defense committee member and started firing in the open. The situation could have been much worse had Balkishan not responded in time. This is what people assumed and thought it was over. Just as the gloom cast over the village due to the deaths, terrorists struck the village once again. This time, it was an IED bomb. It was detonated at the site of the first attack. It was when people gathered to mourn the dead. The blast killed 2 minor kids and injured 6 others. This shows the barbarity of these vermins. The Rajouri district in the Jammu region witnesses regular infiltration attempts by terrorists and cross-firing across the line of control. But the attack on civilians was the first such in many years. What message is Pakistan sending through these attacks? Senior analyst Giridhar Mamdi answers this question.
The dastardly attack in Rajouri, killing Hindus in cold blood, and later attacking the mourners by a IED has thrown up many issues out here. One, we see that Asim Munir, who is the new army chief of Pakistan, the first thing he did after taking charge was to visit a forward post on the line of control near Poonch and Rajouri area. So we see that there is a clear-cut focus and prioritization for Pakistan to activate something on the LOC or beyond. So this is the first incidents that we have seen, and let us expect more of them.
Compared to the year 2018, terror incidents have fallen by 50%, and the deaths of security forces came down by 80%. We are witnessing increased attacks on civilians in the Kashmir Valley. This is instilling fear among the Hindus in the valley. Recounting the horrors of the 90s exodus, they are again on the verge of leaving the valley. Now, with the Rajouri attacks, can this be attributed to intelligence failure?
By definition, every single terror incident is an intelligence failure. You may stop 10 incidents, but even if 1 or 2 incidents leak out, that is again an intelligence failure. Having said that, this is very clear that they have a lot of sleeper cells within this country, which they are able to activate at their will and pleasure. The government's efforts could eliminate huge amount of the assets, Pakistani assets within the country. The last year, they've eliminated more than 500 terrorists in the valley and elsewhere. Still, it's a high value targets that they're choosing, soft belly, easy targets, which are Hindus. The program seems to have shifted from Kashmir to Muslim majority areas in the Jammu region.
So, why is Pakistan activating its sleeper cells in the Jammu region of LOC?
So, as the pressure inside Pakistan builds up due to the TTP, Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan attacks on the major cities in Pakistan and Pakistani government's inability to deal with the radicalization and terrorism within their own country from the organizations which they themselves nurtured, they want their people to divert the world's attention towards Bharat, especially since their sponsor China wants the borders to be kept active. Xi Jinping again has a serious problem because internally his economy is collapsing, his medical system has completely collapsed. So given the situation, he does not want Bharat to take advantage of the situation and pull away a lot of supply chain assets advantages that China has, which already Bharat is emerging. As we know, iPhone has more or less shifted all its new models to Bharat, and they are going to employ more than 50,000 in this year alone. So they're going to seriously ramp up everything out here. So we're going to see flight of industry and business into Bharat, which China is desperate to stop. So they are going to use Pakistan as a proxy, and unfortunately, it is a collateral damage would be the Hindus of the state of Jammu and Kashmir.
This is not the first time Hindus in Rajouri went through this ordeal. They still live with the trauma of the massacre in Rajouri in 1947. Pakistani raiders captured Rajouri in November 1947. They carried out a pogrom against Hindus as they carried out extensive killings, looting and rapes of Hindu residents. An estimated 30,000 people were killed, wounded and abducted because of Pakistani brutality. Many women committed suicide by consuming glass pieces as they feared the raiders would desecrate them. Several lives of Hindu women were taken away by their own kin to protect their dignity. The region found solace only after Indian forces liberated it in April 1948 from occupation of Pakistan. Coming to the recent Rajouri attacks, what are immediate threats posed to the security forces? How will Bharat deal with Pakistan's new misadventures?
Unfortunately, how much ever the intelligence agencies and the security grid works, still there would be one or two leakages. Last year, in the year 2022, there were more than 22 drones which are shot down by our BSF and other forward pickets. Unfortunately, more than 250, 300 of them either dropped their material inside our territory or they went back without being shot down. So this is an imminent threat which probably has delivered enough ammunition and war material to their assets deep inside our territory. And so they can activate it and they can shut it down at their will and pleasure. I'm sure if the linkages to Rajouri attack lead up to anything inside the Pakistani territory, the government of India would respond with all seriousness. However, Pakistan is trying to avoid a Fatah kind of a situation again and an international condemnation while its economy is completely collapsed. So they would want it to be shown, projected as a local homegrown resistance against Hindus in Bharat. The supply logistics will happen from Pakistan, yet the attacks will be done by people holding Bharat's passport. This seems to be their target, and the sponsors, obviously Pakistan doesn't have the money to do it, and the money comes from China and Pakistan executes it. We have seen Yangtze being activated on the LAC in Arunachal, and now we are seeing Rajouri getting activated on the LOC. So we are in for some challenging times ahead, and as challenges mount up, I'm sure the government of Bharat should take some decisive steps and punish this rogue state called Pakistan in such a way that they dare not again ever attempt this kinds of misadventure here.
Rajouri district is known for sending a significant number of recruits to the army. These repeated terror strikes show an attempt to create a communal divide. Pakistan will try to sow seeds to radicalize the population in Muslim majority areas of Jammu region, such as Poonch, Rajouri, Ramban and Kishtwar. Apart from that, when violence and terrorism were at their peak in Jammu and Kashmir in the 90s, village defense committees were helpful in defending areas from terror attacks by passing on key information to the police and stopping the migration of locals due to the terror strikes. Both Muslims and Hindus used to participate in these defense committees. The authorities are considering to re-establish them to maintain communal harmony and resist Pakistan's ploys. Despite being in shambles, why is Pakistan trying to unleash terror in Jammu and Kashmir?
A few days back, there was an attack by TTP at on a highway near Khanewal in Punjab, Pakistani Punjab, where they killed a very, very senior ISI functionary along with his orderly. So ISI, which nurtured TTP and Taliban, is facing a blowback from the Frankenstein that they created themselves. So obviously, ISI has a point to prove that their grip on activities within the territory of at least the Bharat-held, Bharat-controlled Jammu and Kashmir is something which they can do it at their will, is something which they have to prove to themselves, to their establishment, and to their sponsors. So, as the ISI agents within Pakistan are not sure of their own life, they are walking around with bulletproof vests. So it is a desperate battle for them, and so they have triggered this Rajouri incident to just send out a message that don't underestimate us. We still have the ability to do things within your territory. So I think our agencies would have heard this message very loud and clear, and I think there would be appropriate actions. In fact, there is a section of Pakistani analysts who believe that these ISI agents have been knocked off by instructions from raw by elements within Pakistan. So let's see how it plays out. So it's a cat and mouse game where unfortunately there would be collateral damages, and very sadly it is the vulnerable minority Hindu population who are taking the brunt. I hope and wish that the security grid is tightened to ensure safety and security for the assets and the lives of Hindus in other vulnerable areas of either the valley or in the Jammu region.
Please subscribe to Nationalist Hub English channel for more interesting videos, and don't forget to like and share this video. Nationalist Hub, it's a news revolution.